All right, I'm not sure we've gotten Diego back. So
Oh yeah, I see him. Hey Diego, is it all good?
Hey, yeah.
Are
Can
you
you
able
hear
to
me?
share screen?
What?
Diego,
Are you
why
able
don't
to
you
share
go
your
ahead
screen and
and
control it?
share your screen?
Sure, sure.
All right.
Give me 1 second. Okay. I have the presentation I was working on. Give me 1 second because I have many screens. So I will use.
Diego, why don't you go ahead and share the presentation, the first one we
Sure.
were in. I've copied your content into that one,
Okay. Okay. 1 second.
and I can grab that link if you need it.
If you can share it, that would be
All right, it's in
perfect.
Discord.
Okay. There we go. Okay.
Woohoo.
Are you watching the screen?
Yep, we can see it.
Yes.
Station. Woo! Well, this is amazing. Okay, let's start this event by first saying thank you to Niantic for hosting this space, for organizing the assets, for providing information, for actually hearing the community when we basically bring this idea. So for today's agenda, we will first have the introduction, then we will pass through the onboarding workflow, and then we will jump in right into the functionalities of Lightship with the templates, okay? And finally, but not least, we will have a session of questions and answers, and that's pretty much the schedule for this hour. But at the end of this presentation, I'm willing to stay, I don't know, 1 hour, 2 hours, to really dedicate time to each of you to install the assets and make sure you are actually able to use the templates and you know how to prototype your apps. That being said, we have basically kind of like the first thing we need is to have Unity install it, right? And basically that's the first part of the presentation we're going to have today. And we will pass through several kind of like mini tasks we need in order to get all the assets and the developer environment configured. So the first thing we need to do, besides having Unity 3D, it's first go to the lightship.dev website, and there on the right top side, we will have the sign in button. Ooh. Then that's pointed. Oh, animations, great. So once we get there to the sign in screen, we provide the credentials, right, from your developer account, or either we register a new user and then we get the credential and we log in.
And then Diego, can you wait for people to go ahead and do that so that they can follow along?
Sure.
Yeah.
Let's wait. I don't know, like 5 minutes or kind of like.
Yeah, just a few minutes and we can check in. So go ahead and, like Diego said, go to lightship.dev. And then there's a sign in the top right. Yep, exactly. And
link is in chart. They can check it out.
I'm sorry?
Sir?
Link is in chart.
It is what? Sorry, Divakar?
Divkar, we can't understand what you said. What was that?
He has shared the link in chat.
Oh, yeah. So
What?
yeah, you go ahead and sign in. Yep. And let us know if y'all are ready to move on or if you're still signing in.
Exactly.
All right, looks like one person's been able to download. Is anybody okay? We've got another one that says they're good. Okay. All right, Diego, I'm watching the chat. It looks like most people have gotten signed in.
Perfect. Thank you very much for the updates, Holly. Okay, so now we'll proceed to explain a little bit about Insight. Holly, is that okay if I show my developer dashboard?
I think that's a great idea. Yeah.
Okay. So basically when you sign in, this is what you see. This is the dashboard, right? And on here, you have basically on here on top, the projects assigned with the API key, right? Right below, we have the VPS coverage map that this will be very useful in the next month. Showing all the VPS enabled wave spots around USA. These are kind of like my scans. Nothing we need to worry about this like at this time. But where we need to go right now is to the place of getting the ERDK, the software we need to create Lightship content. So to do so, we need to go to downloads on the right side. And on here, we will see the download button, okay, where we will hit that and we will download the file, right? And once it is downloaded, you will have a .unity package that you will be able to import to the Unity project. So please let everyone know when you have it already downloaded. It's pretty small. I mean, it's like 50 megabytes. Like on here, RDK 2.0.
Yeah, good call out, Diego. Once y'all have it downloaded, just hit it up in the chat so that I can let Diego know that he can move forward. I see one person, two people, three people, so many people. Okay.
People have fast
Perfect.
internet. It's good.
Okay. I'm super excited because for every release, I'm always expecting new technology. And to be honest, I haven't found like bugs while developing with the RDK. And that is key because I don't have to kind of like divide my focus time on learning bugs, but instead I can put all my focus and my time and my energy in creating the content. So yeah, seeing this when I started was like version ARDK 1, and how far all these has kind of like gone. And it's for me, it's like amazing that for real we have VPS now, and we can develop geolocated experiences once we first download and install the ARDK in our projects. So
I think they've all got it downloaded.
okay, perfect. I will move on. So as I mentioned before, we will work with Unity 3D, but while you're handling different type of projects as a developer, you need to have kind of like a reliable tool to manage the different versions of Unity, because some frameworks are not available with the recent versions. And for that situation, we have basically the Unity Hub that allow us to manage every version as well as the project. So to create a new project on here, we need to go to the top right side to new project. And then we're going to select the type of template, basically the 3D type, right? And we will need to set up that kind of like project into an environment we can easily share later. So if you're working on your own, it's perfectly, to put the kind of like the project path to your, desktop or documents. But if you're working with other people and you will work with people like in the future, I will highly advise you to create a new folder that's kind of like name it like workspace. And in there you throw all the assets. So when you move that folder around your computer, you will not lose access to each file. And that's key because sometimes I have my projects on the desktop, and then I move them, and then Unity Hub cannot find the files because they belong to a root the program is trying to access. So this basically the concept is a concept of an absolute path. Unity Hub needs an absolute path. He will try to look the file there. Yeah, that's basically the hub in a nutshell. Allows you to also manage adding more components to new versions of Unity. For example, let's say you install Unity for iOS only, and then you change your mind and you want to add Android development too. Well, in this case, you can come here in the Unity Hub and basically easily handle all the dependencies and all the add-ons you need to work on the project. So please let me know, everyone, when you're on the same page, you are on here on this screen. You need to have, of course, Unity version 2020.3, preferably LTS version.
We've got a question. It says, I have the M1 chip. Is it necessary to use the Intel-based editor version?
I don't know what you mean with the Intel version exactly, but I know that if you find any workaround, we will manage because we'll manage to solve it. Just follow the steps exactly, and if you find any difficulty, I will quickly jump and help you.
I can jump in and say I've got the M1 chip and I've downloaded the M1 version of Unity and it's fine as well. There can be little bugs here and there, but if you're comfortable with it, it's fine. Yeah, it should be okay generally. There's only small bugs maybe, but largely be okay. For the simple stuff, it should be fine.
Yeah.
Thanks, y'all.
Well, you are getting into this screen. I will share a little bit of insights about this screen. So you see on top, we have kind of like new project edited version. And in there is exactly the place where we will manage and select first before creating the project, the version we need. Usually, like a big mistakes I do is like I create a new project and then I set the name, I choose the location, and I forgot to change the version. And this is key because once you kind of like are in a higher Unity version, you cannot downgrade. Maybe, you can always upgrade, and Unity tells you it might break some things in the project, right? And you will need to convert into scripts, but you cannot downgrade the project. So be sure to, once you get into this screen, first select the Unity version you need. And that's it.
Everybody been able to do this? Anybody having trouble finding the screen? Okay, Nicole's good. Stratton's good. Michi's good. Looks like
This
we're
is my-
doing good. Okay, and y'all don't feel, if you got something where you get stuck, please hop on and stop Diego and he'll help you.
Mhm.
Sonia's almost there. Okay. Getting there.
Well, this is my Unity Hub, my Unity versions. Before I heard about the version 2020.3, I used the 2019 for that 29. And in some cases, you need to know what versions you need to use. But this, the version we are going to use is the preferred version you should use. Only unless it's totally necessary, you should use other versions. because this means that you are using a version that is tested, that is working with the ARDK. And if you don't work with the same version of that the package needs, then you might find, I don't know, problems about the scripts that maybe they are deprecated, So I used to select the version 2019.4 because it was relevant for Firebase back then. But then, yeah, basically I started developing with that, but then I find out that the preferred version will be a newer one, and that's better because you have more capabilities, more improvements over the game engine, and I decided to go to that version, basically. Another maybe like insight about this screen, there are like this is like a template where you pre-select the type of project you will be building, and it also helps you to set up the render pipeline for your project. For example, when you create a blank new project, like a Unity 3D project for 3D, you choose always the 3D version, unless you want to use a preferred render pipeline in the game engine. In this case, you have the universal render pipeline or high definition render pipeline. That version, those versions that have their own configurations about graphics may not be compatible with ARDK. This doesn't mean it isn't compatible. It means that it will not work as expected as if you use 3D template on here. And that's why we use the 3D and not like URP or HDRP. Yeah. I will rename this. It's better to give it like kind of like declarative name. So for the sake of my future me and your future you, I will say use something like, if you're targeting iOS or Android, declare that into the project. Kind of like put on here, I don't know, like ARDK iOS or Android in your case, because then it will be kind of like easier if you scale. This is not for every scenario, but if you scale and you need to have, for example, custom classes for iOS, or the best example I can give is that on Android, you need to ask permission to use the camera and to use maybe the microphone, or depending on the sensor things you are going to use, you need to request permission. And to do so, there's a specific way for Android and also a specific way for iOS. And if you compile the application for iOS using requesting Android Android permissions, that might have a conflict. And actually, I don't think the app will be published or will be accepted by the App Store. So you need to add when you're going to release the software. Pretty much know or separate each environment, so you don't mix the Google ER core or Google files into your iOS project. This will save you a lot of headache in the future, believe me, because when we are working and when we work with Android, I think it's 13 is one of the latest versions of Android. You need to do kind of like a few extra steps to be able to see the ARDK in your project. This doesn't mean it's complicated. It means you need to follow like at least 10 steps, micro steps, to configure kind of like the manifest of the application, open the file, saying there you're going to use a specific version of ER core, save it, compile it, test it. There are like many different ways. So you don't want to have all those steps for Android and then switch to change platform. And when you change platform, you will lose all your setup. And if you want to compile to Android, you will need to re-switch everything to compile for Android. So my advice is use a specific project for iOS and a specific project for Android. What you can do is that you can use the same project. We're going to use like it with templates. And in some point when you want to build, you then kind of like do the, like a backup of that, because the project that already have the RDK installed, it has all the configuration for iOS or Android. And that way, if you want to easily open the application and target your phone to check the application in your phone, you will not need to wait 5 minutes, 10 minutes. You will be able to do it like in 3 minutes. So,
Hey,
yeah.
Diego, I'm gonna do a time check real quick. We only have half an hour left, so if there's a next step
Sure.
we should go to, I think we all cleared that step.
Okay, so once we open Unity, we go to assets, import package, custom package. Okay, and in there we're going to search in the download folder the basically the file that will be, if I'm not sure if I'm right, sorry, the ARDK, right? We're going to import it. So you should be able to find it in downloads. Let me know when you already download it and install it. But once you do that, right, it will take, I don't know, about like 5 minutes or so. And basically after you load that, you will be able to do kind of like the next step. So let me know, everyone, when you already have or are start importing this, right?
Looks like Sonia imported. Sonia, did you get a head start? Okay, Stratton's good, Sonia's good. Elias is good. Mary, looks like you're still importing maybe. Naomi's good. Hal's good, Diana's good. Mary, let us know when you get imported. Ah, Mary's good. Okay, I think everybody's good.
Okay. Now we need to go again to our account at lightship.dev. And in there, we're going to go to projects. I will do this live because it's kind of like more interesting, dynamic. So we come here, we create a new project. And then we have on here to set up the title, the description, and create a new key for your project. You can just set, I don't know, like super template app. And then we can say like templates challenge, so we know it's about this. And then we create our new API key. And that's it. We click on here, right? We copy it.
Sorry, what was that thing you did? You said templates challenge, and then there was a button that came up that said create key.
Sure.
Is that right?
Sure. We set up the title.
Uh-huh.
We set the description. And we finally add on here, like create new key.
Okay.
Once we're create new key, and that will show you this.
Okay. Thank you. Y'all, if you have questions, make sure you raise your hand or put them in the chat. Thanks, Diego.
You're welcome. So meanwhile, those are you are doing this step, I can show you, or well, it's there, but the next step is creating the authentication files we need inside Unity. As I mentioned, you click on here on this icon to copy the key without revealing it. And we need to do kind of like some work to have this configured properly. So let me everyone know when you have the key, but this is something you can do in parallel. Okay. Basically, what you need to do is to create two folders. These folders are structured to the program, so he can find the the files you need to authenticate the application with your API key.
And
This
so we
structure,
went back to, sorry, Diego, I just want to be clear if people are just listening to you. So we went back to Unity now, right?
yep. We went back to Unity. Once we generate the API key, we copy, we go back to Unity.
Awesome.
Well, as I was mentioned, you only need to do two things. First, under assets in your project, right? You will create a new folder, call it ARDK. All letters or words need to be on caps, right? And under this folder, we will need to create another folder called resources. Like in here, resources. Oh. And that will help the program locate the file. But let me know when you all have the key copy and you created that path in your application, in your Unity project.
I think that Killfire got an error.
You got an error?
Killfire. Sorry, I don't know the name. Killfire, yes. Error compilation.
Hello. Yeah, I got a bunch of errors actually.
Okay.
First one, it says niantic.ardk.internal startup systems hashtag could not load the ARDK author config. Please add one in resource directory. Now
Exactly.
it seems to have worked.
Okay.
I got a sample scene. Yeah, like yeah, it loaded
Like
some.
Like examples, you mean?
I just what I was trying to save and everything, it opened up. So I don't know.
Okay.
But yeah, it just says GLSL compilation failed for shader. But yeah.
Okay.
Whatever.
There's something like everyone should be aware of Unity, that it's basically that under the console on here. Give me 1 second. I will do this. Sorry. Under console, I will share the Unity project. 1 second. Okay, the console on here on the bottom part. Whenever you import a package, there might be warnings and errors. But the trick or the catch is that you can hit clear, and if the errors can like disappear, it's not a critical error. It means you can compile, you can build, but maybe it's referring to something it's missing to do more like testing. But the most kind of like stuff if you can delete or clear the error, it's not something to really worry about. Check if that solves the problem. If not,
I think we lost Diego.
Oh no, Diego, come back.
There he is. Hey, Diego.
hey,
We lost you for a second, but we see you and hear you now.
okay. Can you hear me okay?
Yep, we lost you. You were talking about clearing errors and it'll still allow you to go through.
Sorry. Okay, so I was referring that in the bottom part in the console, you can always hit clear. Let me see. Do you see my Unity project on here?
Yes.
Okay, in the bottom part, there is this button that says clear. So whenever I create a new project, I might find errors, but if I'm able to clear the errors, then it's not a critical error. And there's a difference, because with critical errors, you cannot kind of like get rid of the error and you will not be able to hit play. But if you come here and you hit clear and you, the warning and the errors kind of like clear from console, you are able to actually develop, and it's not something to really worry about. But I mean, that error that is showing is referring about something you can do to change that situation. So you can either follow the error and try to decipher what you need to do to get rid of the error, or you can just clear and not kind of like not worry about the error at all, unless it's stopping you from developing. Okay, so everyone managed to import the ARDK into the project, or at least the majority.
Yeah, everybody good on the importing? All right, we got a yes in the chat. We got a yes in the chat. A yes, a yes, I think so.
Woo.
Hellfire gave a shrug. All right.
As I was mentioning, we need the structure to save the file we need to create. So once we create under assets folder, the ARDK, I mean the resources ARDK, right? We will create a new file called ARDK out config. And once we manage to create a file, I can create it, because I mean, you come here, right click, create ARDK out config. That's it. This is the thing. I had created already one for my project. And when you import the ARDK examples, there is also a folder that contains an ARDK out config file. And this is the thing, you should only have one per application in your project. So if you are importing other kind of like files, I highly advise you to come here to the search tab and type ARDK out config. And here you will see all the configurations you have in your project. In my case, I have several, and I should only have one. So
Hey, Diego, can you actually go back to that one where you actually created the ARDK auth config? Yeah.
Sure.
So people can look at that and then do it real quick.
Sure. Thank you very much. So we step into the folder we want to create a file. We right click, then we go to create on the top. And then on the next tab, we go on top of everything, ARDK. And we choose the last option, ARDK out config.
Hellfire, I'm getting a no from you. Diego, was there a spot where you created ARDK auth config? Like there was a screen before this, I think. Is that accurate? Yeah, there.
This is screen are you referring? I mean, this is the next step. I mean, once we manage to create a file, we click it, and in the right side, under the inspector, we should be able to see this screen. This is exactly as with this one.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I don't have the previous one, the ARDK auth config file.
Okay, so did you import the ARDK to your project, right? And you
I thought I did, but it doesn't look like I did.
Okay.
I mean, it was like going and shit, so I don't know.
Hey, Hellfire, would it be okay then, since we have 17 minutes left?
Yeah, totally.
Going, and then we have Diego stay on after with you to get
Yeah.
that. Okay, awesome.
Totally fine. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Sorry.
No, you're good.
Exactly. So the API key we generate, that we copy, we paste it on here, and that is basically all we need to secure the application and be able to compile it to our project. I mean, safely. We need to do extra steps for configuring for iOS and for Android, but that's needed to do it now. The next step will be acquiring the templates, right? So the next thing, we need to go to a web browser and go to lightship.dev/learn/templates. And in there, we will find this website. If we go to the left bottom part, you will find the download templates. And you will click on there and you will find the Lightship Hub that it's a zip file. If you're on Mac, probably is going to automatically unzip and you will have this folder. But if not, you will need to unzip it using a third-party application on Windows or Mac, basically. Once you download the files, I mean the folder, you will find out with 2 files, okay, that we will need to import to the project to start creating. And those things are first and foremost the Lightship Hub _ version 1, right? And that's the first thing we need to import because there are components that will be added on top of the Lightship Hub. So we first import the Lightship Hub version 1 and then the mock environments. And once to import this, we need to go to assets, import package, custom package, and then search for the folder we just download and search for the Lightship Hub version 1, right? And then basically after we import this, it's 1 or 2 minutes. Sorry. We have a new tab on top of the project on here. I don't know, do you see on top my nav bar on here? You see Lightship Hub. Yes.
Does it take a while to download? Has everybody got the templates downloaded?
Not really. It's kind of like
Okay.
similar to the size of the ERDK.
Okay, great. Sonia's still importing. Diana's downloaded. Someone's got the templates, but not the mock.
Okay, you need
Someone
to
else is importing.
perfect. You need, after you import the Lightship Hub, you need to repeat the same process: asset, import package, custom package, and then Lightship Hub _ mock environments. And here, assets, import package, custom package. And yeah, this is the website where we will have the files. Should be super quickly to import this. Please let everyone know when you have kind of like this on your screen.
Also, just as a heads up, because I think a few people have been confused, you won't see any fancy things yet. It's still going to be an empty scene. The only thing that you're looking out for is that Lightship menu at the top.
Yeah, sorry. It will be exactly as you mentioned, but
Yeah, Diego has already put the template in there. That's why you see it.
exactly.
Yep.
This is what you get. Actually, when you open Unity, you have the scene sample scene, but it's not empty. You have a camera light. But yeah, this is what you will see actually. Welcome.
Okay. Hellfire's in, yay.
And for real, this is like the best thing you can do before using Lightship. or I mean the RDK, because you have the resources centralized into the same place, and even the help and the documentation. So this is a good, reliable way to quickly access all the resources you need to mix the templates and not have to code everything from scratch. So I will share like one more screen, right, about what you need, right, to select the templates. And once you have the Lightship hub, you should head to this kind of like tab, right? And once you find that tab, object placement, you just click it and it should pop up. I will show you. Lightship hub templates, fundamental object placement. And then boom. There's a limitation. You cannot do the same thing like again, because this project already contains kind of like the managers you need to manage the AR session of the experience, right? So take consideration that you can only have one AR controller, one AR manager, right, on your scene. But you can pretty much have multiple cameras. But yeah, you cannot just over import resources. I will go to where I was.
Did everybody get, so are they at the point where they should have something in their scene at this point?
For me, can you repeat again, Holly?
Yeah, are they at the point where they've selected the object placement and have the little gift in their scene? Okay, yeah, I see everybody. I don't have a mouse, so I can't zoom on it, but it's there. Okay, cool. It looks like everybody got it in there. Hell yeah.
Cool,
Good
cool.
job, you guys. Good job, Diego.
Thank you very much. Well, this is just a start, you know. But yeah, after, I mean, you need to go to Lightship, Hub, Templates, AR Fundamental, Object Placement, as I mentioned. And in there, we're ready. And this is so crazy because with just one click, you can replace the content and build, you know. Basically, on here, there's in huge, on here in hierarchy, it says replace me. What you need to do is you need to come over here and basically you can toggle off this content and you can add your own 3D models on here. And once you play, I will hit play, you should be able to start the experience with this black environment. But that's in a nutshell how to get Unity, install the RDK and the templates. Give me 1 second. Let's see. Niantic. Okay, this is telling me that I don't have the AP key on here. So I mentioned all the steps and I didn't set up the AP key, sorry. Oh, and I have several. So I should only have one. So for the sake of this, I will delete it. Yep. Probably not a good idea while running. As I mentioned, I can clear the errors, right? Since I don't have the file, okay, it's in there. I will quickly.
Do you want me to jump in, Diego, and show the testing stuff?
Yeah. If you can, I will. You want me to stop sharing screen?
Yep, I'll share my screen.
And,
okay.
Michi, I see that you have a blocker. So after the presentation, I think Diego can circle back to help you.
Definitely.
Woo. All right, everybody. So now you'll see my screen. I'm pretty much at where everybody else is at. So this is what you should be seeing. Now, when you click play, you get blank screen. Like it's just all black, which is not that exciting. But what we've got is if you go to the Lightship menu up the top, if you go to the ARDK menu, there's something called Virtual Studio. So if everybody goes up to there and clicks Virtual Studio, it should Oh no, let's put it on a weird screen for me that I can't get to. You should see this.
Oh,
It might appear randomly at some other spot that makes it hard to get to. I tend to drag it somewhere and just lock it into a Unity, somewhere in the Unity editor. Feel free to put it wherever or just have it floating. Either works. But what it can do, I'm just going to leave it here for now, is if you click mock, you can choose a pretend environment scene. So this will just make you a virtual scene that will simulate what it would be like if you were running it in the real world. Does everybody have that so far?
Yep, it looks like it's working. Everybody's got it.
Cool. So next to mock scene in this menu, you can choose a scene. For this one, I'm pretty sure mesh interior scene is the one.
Okay.
But if you choose mesh interior scene, keep Virtual Studio open, and then try hitting play. And then you should have a fancier scene. And when you click, you should get that gift actually appearing now. And that'll show you what it would be like if you had it on your phone and you were tapping on the screen in your real world. So in the real world on your phone, if you tapped on a chair or a table, then that present will start appearing in those places. So this makes it way easier because you don't have to keep uploading your app onto your phone, test it. You can do it all with a pretend environment first. And if you see the other mock environments, there are ones for outdoors as well. So if you're doing stuff for outdoor environments, you can test it like that as well. But that's all the environment stuff, really. You can go crazy with adding plenty of stuff into your game and then test it all without needing to use your phone. And it will all automatically not be there when you upload it onto your phone to test on your phone. So you don't have to worry about turning off Virtual Studio and then turning it back on, all that sort of thing. It just kind of handles it itself. And then Diego, I'll let you keep going a little bit more because I think everybody got that working. I hope. I can't see chat as easily once I'm screen sharing.
Sure. I also got it working. I haven't seen it or tested. I'm guilty of it.
Excellent.
But I managed to have it working, and that's super excited because it's super useful. So
I'll let you share your screen again, Diego, so you can show.
Okay.
Actually, real quick, we have 3 minutes left. If we could get a picture of everybody, and then Pat Cat, I know you were going to go through the functionalities of Lightship and what it offers.
Exactly. You should go.
Yeah, I would love for Pat Cat to get that opportunity as well. Okay, if you'll turn your camera on, I'll take a photo of all of us.
That will mean a lot. We hope at the end of the year we have like a giant picture with everyone like events. So you are important here, you know, you are part of something big. You're learning this, and this is a skill of the future. And we really appreciate you to be here, to listen to us, to invest time to learn this technology. And yeah, basically, I really appreciate you're here.
All right, so go ahead and come on the camera, if you can, if you feel comfortable.
Good one, Chris Mandra.
I will take a picture on the count of, ooh, you're in your car, nice.
I see you, Chris Mandra, Ra, Michael, Tom, Gatón, amigo, ¿qué haces acá?
All right, and on the count of 3, I will take this photo. All right, so 1, 2, 3. And one more. 1, 2, 3. Awesome. All right, you guys. Thank you for doing that. I'll pass it back to Pat Cat. If you want to stay on to see kind of what all Lightship can do. I think it's a great opportunity to understand what you could potentially make in your build.
Yes. Okay.
Cool. I'll share my screen again.
Go ahead.
Oh, and Pat Cat, I only had one video for AR fundamentals.
That's all good.
So the first one is very low visually.
that'll be fine. All right, so Lightship has a whole lot that it can do. So what you've seen with just that present one is within the AR fundamentals stuff, but there's a whole bunch of other things. I'll cover them relatively quickly. And then if anybody has any questions about specific stuff or wants to know more about any of them, feel free on the Discord to just message. Even if you're just in the Lightship templates room on Discord, feel free to ask random questions. I'm PatCat in the Discord, so if you want to direct message me, if you don't want to say anything out in public, if you're worried about anything, that's fine, just message me privately. So AR fundamentals was that first one that you just saw. Here's a video, hopefully that works. So we had that present, but there's also one where it'll work out the plane on the floor, and you could have a little car driving around as well. So this is all part of the initial way that Lightship can understand the world around you. So it can understand like a table, it can understand a floor, and it can kind of work out those flat planes, and you can have things running on those planes. So you can have that car driving around your entire living room, and it'll just adapt on its own to a range of different environments. Contextual awareness is one of my favorite ones. I've used a lot when we've been making little projects here and there. This is the one where it can understand a lot more about the world. So this one is using meshing. So meshing sort of puts a sheet, like a really invisible sheet around the world, where it tries to work out vaguely where different, where the walls are, where your various like flat physical surfaces are, and then you can generate items onto them. So in this case, it's similar to that package, but it's just putting it everywhere. So you can make lots and lots of items appear on top of all of your objects. That video, I don't think it's going to work for me, but I'll show you this one. And so this one again, goes a little bit further. This one's showing the occlusion. So one of the cool things in Lightship is that in AR, it sounds weird, but it is actually really hard to make objects go behind real world objects that you've got in your space. But this one was able to go behind the table leg and know that there was a table leg there. So rather than just it driving on top of the table leg, it can go around things and inside stuff in your environment, which if you're making an AR application and you're just using Lightship, that's already like a massive leap up from just doing it manually yourself in Unity, because you've got all of that by default.
And PatCat, do you want me to share this actually so that we make sure all the videos work for you as you're speaking?
Yeah, we can do that.
Okay, cool. Let me do that
sharing
real quick. Okay, and view slideshow. Here's game board. There you go.
Yes, yeah. So game board is another really cool one. I haven't gotten to use game board yet. I have to find a good reason to use it. But this one lets you set up a whole space where you can have a character walk around. So it can work out whereabouts on your floor in the environment is a safe space for things to move. So it'll kind of work out where is a nice flat area. And then you can do really cool things like this, where Dodie is just casually making a snowman. And so you could set up whole kind of game environments where you don't have to worry too much about working out what areas of your room are okay. It handles most of that for you, and you can just kind of make stuff on top of it.
Awesome.
Yes, so this one is the part of contextual awareness that I like the most. It can work out what is sky, what is trees, what is ground in your games. So when you're seeing these duel of wizards fighting each other, what they're doing is they're pointing up at the sky and getting their power up, basically, to shoot off based on it kind of looking up at the sky. They collect something from the sky, and then they can fight back with that. So all of this is really cool because it means you can do a whole lot of stuff that understands your environment in new ways. You can not only do things like collecting from the sky, but you can change how the sky visually looks. You can put things in your game that appear only in the sky, or only on the ground, only in trees, that sort of stuff, which is very, very cool.
Yeah, one of the things I wanted to point out too is like, so they, like you said, they were like getting their power-ups and their weapons. So like each weapon was different kind of like, I pointed at a tree, so I got the secret tree weapon, like Lightship knew. I pointed at the sky, so I got the secret sky weapon. And we've got stuff like that too, where it's like your AR experience will only show up when the phone sees water. So maybe now there's like a pirate ship that's like sinking or something in the water. Anyway, it's one of my favorites also, Pat Cat. So
it is cool. And it's also, if you're thinking of ideas for the templates challenge, contextual awareness is a really good way of getting people to explore, because you can't just stay in your house and find water. So it's a good way of kind of being like, hey, go and use my app outside. And so it's a good kind of prompt to be like, go and explore, find water, find a tree, that sort of stuff.
Good call out.
And then shared AR. This is another really cool thing, which is really hard to make just by yourself. And I've never tried because I was just like, that's too hard, which is having complete multiplayer capabilities. So if you go to the next slides, Haley, I think, yeah, this would be easier to explain it. You can have a shared game where everybody sees the same objects. So you can basically get a bunch of players to all sync together in the real world. They all basically will scan just the host, the main person who runs the game, scans one area of the environment. Like they'll scan, say, a particular tree or something that it doesn't even have to be the same thing each time, but just something which is unique enough in the environment that everybody else can scan it as well. There's also ways of doing it with QR codes and things like that. But then everybody can sync together. They all see the same objects and they can all play together. So like the Duel of Wizards, where everybody was shooting fireballs and skyballs and stuff at each other. That's all powered by shared AR. So Lightship can handle all of that for you. So you can not worry too much about how it's all happening. There's a little bit of technical know-how in doing some of the more advanced multiplayer stuff. Like you will have to get into coding, but the templates do have one for sharing an object, which is pretty good for the basics if you've got like simple concepts. I really like the butterfly one with Coachella, and this one also is a really good way of showing segmentation. So how we understand what the sky is. So the butterfly is able to know where the sky is and be able to kind of appear behind a building, which is amazing. And so you could have a whole bunch of people seeing the butterfly at the same time. And that is really cool with AR, because AR is not that exciting if you're seeing it, but nobody else is. So if everybody sees the same thing, then it's way more cool.
I also wanted to highlight here, like kind of what you're saying, Pat, like that there are these experiences that are like shared AR multiplayer, but it doesn't necessarily have to be a game. Like you said, if we've all got our phones out, we're seeing the exact same path of this butterfly. It's not like everybody's got a different instance when they start. It's like everybody's seeing the exact same thing. And it's not even a game. It's just you all experiencing that together.
Yes. And this was a demo that was in AR Voyage. So if you go into the App Store, you can get to AR Voyage from Niantic. And it was one where it's all multiplayer and everybody is trying to shoot down these glow bug fly things. I forget what they're called. But it also, if you can see, they've got their names above their heads. This is, fireflies, as they're called. So you can also have people named in the game, and you can kind of tell where each person is. So it's tracking each person individually in the space. You can try and do things where it's like you fight each other if you wanted to. I think a lot of people have found that it is a lot easier for everybody to fight shared objects rather than like attacking each other directly, just because it can be a lot more jarring, I think, with the tracking at the moment. But you can try either way. But it is a lot more, I think, enjoyable for everyone to be fighting actual virtual things rather than each other. So that would be my suggestion as well if you're thinking about things to make. And then VPS is the newest addition to Lightship capabilities. And that lets us be geolocalized within specific locations in the real world. So something will only happen at that one location that they go to. And what video do we have? Cool. So in this one, you can see that hand there is targeted and set up specifically on that building. So people who want to see that hand, they would have to go to that building, that corner there, scan it, and then they'll see that hand. The really cool thing about this is that they didn't have to do any weird things like go up and scan a marker or stuff like that. If they have the app and they're walking around with the app using VPS can tell, okay, you're at this location because you've gone to this really specific building. There's enough detail in the building that it can tell vaguely what the building is to work out whereabouts you are in that space. And it also uses GPS to work out vaguely where you are. So it handles a lot of that in the background for you. You just have to make sure you're going to a location that's available for it. The next one is another cool example of VPS. This one, you're able to actually move stuff around. So you can have shared experiences where you go to a VPS location and you can make something, place it in a location, and it'll be there for other people to see.
Yeah, this is,
So
this is in our we have a channel now called Try Out My Build. And y'all are welcome to try out this app. And like Pat Cat said, you like take your picture, you add it there, and then it's there for anybody else who comes to that location. They're going to see your picture. It's permanent there. Even if they're in a completely different session, they're still going to be able to see that you were there and that you took a picture.
Exactly, which is cool. And this could mean anything. Like you could have people make all sorts of objects. Wouldn't have to be pictures. It's Unity. So you can make anything really shared. So imagination, go wild. And then the last one is another cool, actually that's another cool example of like imagination go wild is literally you could be putting plants and cool stuff down in a park or anywhere you wanted really, that is VPS enabled. Then other people can go around and explore that same experience. And so you could get people to literally make their own custom virtual worlds really, where they can go around and then somebody else can see the same thing, which again, similar to shared AR stuff, it actually makes it a lot more interesting. It's fun for people to go in once and make something just in AR for the experience of it. But to know that they're making something which then other people will go and see later, there's way more chance people will actually jump in and try and do that, because it's people sort of expect if you make something and they saw the real world while they're doing it, that other people should be able to see it. It's sort of just like a natural thing. So you're able to get that all working with the power of Lightship without needing to build it yourself, which saves a lot of time and is also just a really hard thing to solve.
Do you know this one, Pat Cat?
I do, the fancy
Yes.
fountain. So this is another cool one where it shows you scanning. So you can see that they're kind of scanning where they are specifically in the space. But once it knows where they are, they can go in and they can hide something for other people to find. So it's a cool kind of hide and seek kind of treasure hunt style game, which VPS is also really, really good for. And another good way of, if you're trying to find ways of getting people to go outside, similar to the segmentation and stuff, VPS really is one of those go outside, but more than that, you actually have to go and explore to go to specific locations. So if you have hide and seek style games, Lightship can do that too.
This is the last one. I added a lot in here.
It is good. It shows a lot more. I think it's a lot easier for people to see with visuals. It explains it a lot better.
Yeah.
So this was at AR House, wasn't it, Haley? And that was hiding pigs around the place. So people would go around and try and find these pigs. But it also had the cool thing of taking pictures and stuff. So you could kind of be like, I found the pig. And then you can kind of save your moment when you saw the pig. But they're all hidden in really specific spots. So everybody could go around and try and do like a shared find the pigs first style adventure, where they basically find the spots in this AR house scene where it would be best to hide these objects. So they could get really, really specific about where they hid the pigs as well, which is a good thing with VPS. Because you sort of know that it's going to detect the scene really well. They can literally, if you see the find a pig near the Dodie, it is literally hidden in a very specific spot on that Dodie creature there. So
Yeah.
even though they're like looking around.
Sorry. Yep.
It's placed directly on that backpack. So you can place things really, really fine-tuned into the environment in really cool ways.
Oh, go ahead, Nicole.
So just a funny thing that the developer of this experience said to us is that like he did not consider that people have different heights. And so by putting the pig up there, a lot of people didn't like find it because they were like tiny, like me, for example. So just think to consider like the human perspective and like how different everyone like experiences it. It's so cool to see, you know.
Yeah, and yeah, I'm tall, so I actually got to play this one, and I still had trouble because Doty's like 10 feet tall. So I was still having a hard time, but he also put a time clock on this at the top right. So like you're having to kind of race and move about quickly to beat the time clock and find all the pigs. And I thought that was really cool. And all the pigs are NFTs as well. So he also has another racing game where you acquire an NFT and then you can race it against other NFTs. See if I can get to the next slide. Oh, we did that.
Oh, yeah. That's all done. Cool. But yes, I would also reiterate, one of the good things, similar to what Nicole said, test your stuff with a lot of different people to avoid a lot of those sorts of things. Like you'll test it plenty and you'll think it's all good, but the moment somebody else tries it in the real world, you'll find a lot of those things that you didn't think of, where different heights, people often will look in different ways, or they'll move their phone around in different ways and stuff like that. So test a lot, and it'll help make your submissions a lot better as well, because you'll be able to show, you know, how it's improved over time.
Good call out. Yep, and we have our resources here. There are the guides with videos, of course, the templates, what we went over today, plenty of documentation. We've got our YouTube channel, and of course the Discord, which I know Didkar's added a link in there for our Discord. Oh, I had one more thing for y'all, but I can't remember it now. But I want to thank Diego and PatCat for their session today. It's really incredible to have everybody reach success within 1 hour and get onboarded. So thank you so much to our Lightship leaders. Thank you to Nicole for supporting also in the chat, also following along in her own builds and adding color to some of these community-driven apps we were showing. But we're really excited to have y'all as part of the community and part of this challenge. Now VPS, I know it's the most compelling part because it's localized and it goes across multiple user sessions. It is our most difficult part as well too. So continue to like take it slow. Don't bite off more than you can chew and get discouraged. But VPS, we do have some VPS templates to help you out. We've got some VPS guides as well, but we also have that for all the other things we were showing today as well. We're really excited to see your builds. I know Diego has said he will stay on for a longer amount of time. If anybody needs,
I will stay many hours on here. So if you stay on here, I will share the tips, the tricks, and how to set up the cell phone with a computer so you can iterate over and over and compile your application. So
awesome. Thank you, Diego. And thanks everybody for joining today. It's always great to see y'all. We have a session tomorrow around ideation. It's a design thinking session. It's not a technical session. And so you're welcome to join that if you want to further your ideas. And then Nicole will be hosting a peer review session on Monday. And so getting folks to share with each other what they're building and give each other feedback or tips to ensure, just like what PatCat was saying, making sure you're getting other people's eyes on it before you continue going further. I think that's a good part of the iteration process. But I'm going to hop off for the day. Thank you all so much for being here. Diego, I will leave it to you, and I will see you all hopefully throughout our next events throughout the rest of the 10 days. So talk to y'all later.
thank you very much.
Thanks, Haley. Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
See ya. Divkar, you might still be the host. Can you reassign that to Diego? Let me see if I can do it. I don't think I can.
I didn't hear that.
Divakar, you will need to stay the whole session. I don't know.
That's exactly right.
I'll try that.
Go click on Diego's 3 little dots when you hover over
Sure,
him,
sure.
and then make him the host.
Definitely.
Whew, I'm so excited. Holly, these will be recorded. I mean, you record the session,
I
but
recorded the session, yeah. So I'm gonna try and get session recordings up this weekend and into the Discord. I'll be posting them in the templates challenge channel. Yeah.
woo, perfect.
Cool. I'm gonna leave and assume that Diego is now the host, but I'll see y'all later. Chris Price, what? Hey, Chris. All right, I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.
Bye. Have a great weekend.
See ya.
See you. Okay, so we began the part 2 of this amazing event. I want to make it to be as epic as possible. So Pat, thank you, mate, for helping me. I mean, for helping the community to make this awesome, I don't know, like presentation, smoothly present the product. I will not be able to make it better. I mean, right now, if you allow me, Pat, I would like to share like my first 2 things you should install Unity right after you install it. And maybe we can jump back to you once I show that.
I don't have much else. I've covered all my stuff.
Okay.
I'm likely going to duck out, but
Sure.
I wanted to reiterate to everybody that I will be on Discord. So in a few hours, if you still got questions after Diego's finished up, we're always at the Discord. So make sure you join the Discord because it is the best place to get quick thoughts and ideas. There's also the Lightship forum if you've got questions specifically for Niantic. But there's also a support section on the Discord that you can use to get questions answered. So there's lots of support. So if you're trying to do something and you're freaking out, people are around to help, even after the session. But ask Diego lots of really difficult questions in the next hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, keep him for as long as you humanly can, and really test his abilities.
Okay. Hopefully we will be able to test it. Well, thanks, Pat.
Cool.
I know it's really
See
late
everybody.
there.
No, Nicole, just.
Thank you, Pat. Bye. Okay. I'm super excited about this step. I mean, this is a huge milestone in my career, being able to help, I mean, a lot of people to get started as the way I got help it in my early beginnings. And must mention that I am the person I am today. Thanks for the help I got into my career, including in Sport QR, including here in Argentina, in my early days as a developer, trying to figure out my career. And to kick off this kind of like a special part, I want to have kind of like this thought in mind that I want you to kind of like remember. And basically what it says is that if you don't have the desire to learn something, then nobody will be able to help you learn something. But if you are willing to learn, even though you lack of the experience, you don't, is a subject not familiar to you, right? Then no one will be able to stop you. And having the right mindset before actually tackling a whole new job that is software development is something that for sure will help you when you find bugs. So that being said, I will share my screen. Okay. Second screen. Okay. Do you all see my screen?
No, not yet.
Okay.
No.
Yes, I will. Okay, give me 1 second. I will cover that. No, do you see it? A few of you? Oh, sorry, it was there. I didn't hit. Sure. There we are, right?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Okay, so the first thing you actually need to do once you open a fresh project is know what platform to target, because when you import all the projects, I mean, all the assets in here, and you click File, Build Settings. Second, it's loading the screen. See. I don't know why it's kind of like loading. It's there perfectly. So on here, this is the build setting window. And the build setting window is basically the place where on top you have, give me 1 second, someone's like, okay. So on here, on the build settings, you have on top first the scenes you want to show up. So basically when we are developing like in a Sparky R or Lens Studio, we have kind of like blocks, right? Where we can isolate content and we can dynamically add it, that content, right? In Unity, we have scenes, kind of like in movies, more likely like in games. So on top, we need to first set up what a scene we're going to load on our application, right? And I was mentioned that the first thing we need to do as soon as we open Unity is actually set up the platform. Because I opened Unity and imported the assets and I didn't choose the platform first, I will need to then switch platform. And depending on your processor, this might take between 1 minute to 5 minutes. But if you do this before you import anything, then the switch is about 20 seconds. So think about this. You have a deadline and you need to optimize your time as much as you can to test, iterate, and record the videos for the client to check it out. So every second matters when you have 8 hours a day to build your application to test it. And this is what is important, that you first, when you open your project, select the target platform you want to build for, and then import the assets. Therefore, you will not need to kind of like do this I'm doing right now live. But yeah, that's basically to start. We need to, before adding any companion plugin or like free add-on to Unity, we need to configure our environment to export either for iOS or for Android. And for like this time, I mean, like right now, I'm going to export for iOS. So I'm going to explain all you need to know, like for configuring your application and your environment. And I will teach you or share how to open like the program you need to compile your first application, and you can see it over your phone. That sounds good. Okay. Well, this is loading. This can take, as I mentioned, a few minutes. There is different tabs on here we can analyze, right? Because there is a lot of information on the build settings. One of those informations are, for example, development build on here. Development build adds more tools to an application. So basically when you done, I mean, when that kind of like toggle it's off, you will not load a lot of developer debugging tools. You need to actually kind of like figure out what errors are happening inside and what is causing the errors. So if you want to, for example, you want to test your application on your phone, but suddenly the application crashes, then you can hit enable development build. You connect auto profiler and deep profiling. And in there, you will need kind of like to set up different things inside Unity project, but that helps you to have the application here running and have the console of Unity running at the same time. So when you're testing the UI and you click something and something breaks, the application doesn't crash. It will tell you on the console exactly what's the error that is causing. And you can figure out in what point exactly everything broke. So I
have a question here.
Sure.
Okay, I never knew what develop build actually means and where the difference is. But if I understood it correctly, if I hook develop build and it does break during the build, I can open the broken build and get into detail and see why and where it broke, right?
Well, yes, but not exactly. I mean, development build, it also, I mean, when you build application, the first thing it does is under kind of like your application inside, you will see something that says like development. And that adds additional weight to your application. Like, let's say your application is 500 megabytes, then adds maybe more like 500 more megabytes. But I think that it's actually allowing you to debug the application. It's auto connecting profiler. That basically means that inside the application you have a profiler of application of everything that's happening in there kind of like
So
basics.
the connection to the profiler is what makes it worthwhile for me as a developer while testing, because the profiler tells me the optimization and stuff. This is the reason why I should go for development build. But for
Exactly.
me, just playing around and testing my stuff, I definitely go not with development build. First, it's heavier, and second, I don't use it, right?
Sure. I mean, I only use it when I need it. I mean,
okay,
that's the
cool.
rule.
Now I finally understood development build. Thank you.
You're welcome. I'm glad you managed to understand it.
Yes.
I mean, for me, it was always like, I don't know what's that doing, but I hope, I don't know, I don't need to use it, for example, right? And then I was kind of like one day debugging an application and it breaks and breaks and breaks. And from Unity, you cannot see those errors, because those are kind of like sometimes it's specific to device. Maybe the application breaks because you turn your phone to the left and then it's not responsive, and then the application tried to do that and it's not compatible, and then boom, it breaks. But you don't have a way to know what it breaks unless you enable development build, auto connect profiler, deprofiling. You open Unity, it's configured as I will explain in next steps. And then when you break the application, you can actually know exactly what is breaking the application and try to fix it, or try to understand it to improve it so it doesn't break. And that's huge, because I mostly develop 99% of the time alone. So I have nobody to ask about an error I have, right? Okay, quick
So yeah,
stop.
but one thing to add, like keep listening to you. It actually like shouldn't it be like the first time I'm building, I'm switching the platform, and finally somebody said this, to first switch platform. Thank you, because people never say this. They say everything, but they don't talk about version and switch platform. And as a beginner, man. But anyways, but like when I set everything up and I have an idea in mind, okay, maybe I do go develop build kind of early to check the basics and do some optimization, let's say, I don't know, but light or baking or effects and stuff. And then again, more when it comes in the end phase. Yeah, very good, very good. Thank you. It was great inputs. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Your input is super valuable for me. I mean, I'm learning, I want to share as much, as much knowledge I can, because if I die tomorrow, I will take all this knowledge for what? I want to share it because other people can use it and power their, I don't know, development lives and careers mostly. I work as a full-time game developer at Globant. It's an Argentine company, and actually it's a huge industry, game development. It's not like filters that you're on your own pretty much, or you have networks. On here you have a game industry. It's standard, but you need to know a lot. And I learned a lot about, through the years. And I hope I had someone to tell me, click this to this exactly and get this result. But unfortunately, I had to see a lot of videos, and after many failures, now I have the experience I'm sharing today. So we set up, first thing we do, Swift, target the platform we're going to configure. I'm going to be 100% honest. I don't remember exactly what the parameters for configuring iOS are, because there are not too much, but they change over time. So what I always do is that kind of like retain the most important information, and the other information I can look up in internet. I just remember where to search for that information. And for now, we just need to know that if we click on player settings, one window will open up. This window is very important because on here on player, we have the ability to basically set up all the details of our application. The first thing we have on here is the company name. This company name should be equal to your developer account. What this means, for example, on iOS, when you're compiling to your iPad, to your iPhone, you have an iCloud account, right? That's your personal account. And you can create a developer account out of your normal account. But once you are compiling the application, you get a file that the name is bundle identifier. And the bundle identifier is used in games, but it's also used in servers, I mean, in my case, in Firebase real-time database and Firebase authentication. And the name you set up as a company name, in my case, is always my full name, but without spaces. And the reason it's like this as one of the first things I need to configure is because when you're trying to build an iOS application, these need to match first the bundle identifier you declare while building on servers like Firebase, but also needs to be valid. For example, if you put on here, I don't know, blah, 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 and then I compile and Xcode is open, then I will have as a bundle identifier com dot the name of the developer dot the name of the application. It's probably it will fail because you need your actually developer name on here as it is in your account. And basically you can leave this on here. I mean, I never touched the version of the file. So on here on default icon, it's a place where you will import your icon to your application. I like to set up this maybe, well, I want to test application on my phone because then I can actually see how the icon I designing maybe in After Effects, it looks on my phone besides my other applications. And that's really powerful when you design, I don't know, something silly, but then you see it on your phone with the name of the application you added. Is like super powerful because you are building that from scratch. And it's super easy. You just need to import the texture on here. And if you come from a sport car background, you will be familiar with the resolution of 1024 pixels by 1024 pixels. That's basically a good resolution to add an image. But because this is a hands-on experience, I want to show you how I create things. So if you allow me, I will quickly open After Effects for a second. It's already open in there. We just need a PNG, right? It's open. Okay. On After Effects, on this right side, left side, we come to this icon. This is a composition icon. And on here, we can set a new kind of like workspace, right? And I always leave this name on like this, but I need to set up I will go the resolution. So I will say 1024, unblock this for 2024 in there. The other parameters are to basically control how much time the composition will last. I drag this on here, and the first thing I need to do, because I'm creating an image, is press B, like the large B, and N. And this means the beginning of where I want to export something, beginning, and the last frame, end, where the animation or in my case, the image, I mean, the time of this composition, right? So I just set it to one frame. I just said B and N, and that's one frame. And on here, oh, sorry, the hotkey. You come here to put the image. There is not really a hotkey. I mean, there are like two ways. You come in here, you click this icon, and this is like the composition icon. You set up the resolution, and you click accept, or you come on here in composition. Yeah.
I just ask because it's easy. I always have problems writing my questions. So because I mean, we're talking about an image, but you put it in one frame. So and to like put the input and output frame, you just put the input and output frame on one frame, right? I thought I missed a step, which is for
no
the
worries.
picture.
This is After Effects, okay?
Yes, yes,
okay,
I know.
Okay. No, there are like two hotkeys, B and N, and this means beginning and the end.
Okay. Like for me, it's I and O, in and
exactly,
out.
exactly.
Use. Yes, okay, that's the one. That's what we are talking about. Then I'm completely in the picture. I just thought I missed something. You do something special with the picture too, you know.
No worries.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so I will hit B and N. And to create a new layer, you can come to capa in Spanish, layer in English, new solid, or you can hit Command Y or Control Y in Windows. And to be honest, I had always thought that After Effects is the same as Photoshop, but with ability to render over time what you're doing. You have everything, layers, more effects, more control, tracking, and more features, but over time. So once you create a new layer, right, you can click add, or you can first select the color of the layer. In my case, I don't know, make kind of like a white background, right? And I hit accept, because these have the same resolution. And once I'm here, I will go to my website I always use. The name of this website is, I will share it on here, Icons 8, and that's a website where I get all my icons for free. I don't have time to design everything, but I do need control over, I don't know, the assets, because I'm not 100% designer. I'm more like an animator. So on here, let's say we want to build an ERDK powered application. So I want to express something like, I don't know, exploring. So I will just put explore, search. Go there. Okay, and this looks okay. I mean, my focus will not be on creating assets, but how to create your own assets and import it in your own application. So I will repeat the process. On here, you have basically the icon. I hit download. I untoggle this resolution and set my own resolution and set it to 80. Sorry. This is kind of like the average size I'm always using. Okay, so I downloaded my icon. Okay, I open After Effects, I drag and drop it inside. There it goes, and it's super tiny. It's to be expected. So there's like situations in Unity. Let me go in here where we were. Here settings. So as you see on here, we have the default out icon. The recommended kind of like size at least should be 512 by 512. That's kind of like the minimum, because then when you have the icons on here, you just set one icon and it says automatically, I mean, it resizes automatically to, I mean, notification pop-up size, to iPad size, and too many resolutions, and you only need to set it like once. So give me 1 second. Okay. This is like too pixelated, so I would just quickly create something similar. I will add a new layer. Why? I will say that's black. Enter, enter. And then if I come here, I have the tools. I can click Alt and click it and switch between different types. I left the Shift button pressed and drag it from one corner to another one. And then I have a circle, right? I can then come here, duplicate this layer, and the next layer I will put it as a, sorry, the below one, like this, and then I will change the size. Okay. And then let's say this is like ARDK Power App. So I will say, I don't know, like ARDK, resize it. Let's put it in here. Unfortunately, we don't have animations on the icon, but there's no problem. Okay, I'm just going to pass by like really quick to export this. Once I'm happy with the result, I'm going to click to, sorry, I'll click to layer, sorry, composition, add to the pre-processing, I don't know what's exactly in English, kind of like add to pre-process or pre-process. And on here, I have always by default on here that this is an animation, but I will set it as a PNG. And then to make it like the background transparent, I will say RGB alpha. I will accept. I will set where I want to kind of like throw these files. And a big error is start to just throwing files everywhere. As I mentioned, I will create a workspace environment. Workspace. Well, I'm not doing this in Photoshop or Illustrator because I lack the skills or dev programs to make it on these programs. I know how to use the basics of Photoshop and Illustrator, and I know their purpose is for images, but since I'm an animator, I'm comfortable doing this. I can actually make it faster on here, and I can export like sequences of a variation of a logo or an art, you know, and I don't need to make it from Photoshop, pass it to After Effects, because if I'm already making it into After Effects, I can animate it right away. And if I want to send it to Photoshop, I can just save it as PSD and open it in Photoshop. But essentially, After Effects does exactly as Photoshop, but intended for over time. That's basically. You're welcome. I'm going to save because I want to kind of like move forward. Okay, there we go. I will have this workspace. Perfect. Oh, in here, workspace. Okay, I can hide After Effects. I need to close this and close this. And usually the folder structure I use is going to assets, right click. I put my step on assets, right click on top, create folder, and then in there I create a folder called 2D. Okay. And on here, this is the folder that helps me to kind of like know if the assets I'm working are 3D or 2D. And 2D is basically sprites, UI, references, everything it's 2D. So I can just import it, drag and drop it. Right? Once in here, it's not ready to be used. I need to click it, and on the inspector on the right side. Yep. Okay, and there are like 2 or 3 steps max on here. The first thing we need to do is change the texture type from default to sprite to the UI, right? And then the second thing we need to do is on mesh type on here, it's set it as full rect. And then once it's in full rect, I will hit it kind of like apply. And boom, this image, it can work. I mean, I can drag it to the scene like this, right? Or I can use it in UI. Before I could not use it, but I mean, it can be a 3D element into the screen, or it can be I use it in UI. So I say that we're going to use this as an icon, right? So I go to File, View Settings, Player Settings. I set up my correctly developer name. And the intended app name in this will be SuperRDK, right? And here I'm just going to drag and drop the full cursor. This is kind of like if you're on desktop and you want to use a cursor kind of like this one I have in my computer, you can have a custom cursor on your game. This is because you can make desktop games with Unity. So on here, this is kind of like boring. Yeah, it's true. People expect to know everything. And over the time, you eventually, if you are a solo developer, you need to learn a little bit about everything just to get you covered. Give me 1 second. Okay. I mean, this is Spotlight it's basically all the places where the icon of the application might show up. And luckily, we don't need to set like an 80 by 80 icon. I can just drag and drop it on here, and he will take, I mean, the application will take care of everything. You need to basically do this for each of this one. But the most important are the notification ones and the first ones. 1 second on there. Okay, so just this is like the part I kind of like hate, because you need to add each one, but this is the thing you need to do only once, you know, unless you change the icon like over and over. Do you know when you get a notification from Facebook, kind of like this ones? Well, you cannot see it. Well, these notifications have an icon on their side. That's the kind of like the image you will display. You have the application that says like, hey, ERDK, Super ERDK app, I don't know, something happening inside the application. And then you have the logo besides. So I think we're set up there. Perfect. Now, next step, I mean, we were on resolution. I want to make sure to cover everything, so you know everything. So resolution and scaling. This could be when you have, I don't know, maybe with Unity, you can also do web applications, WebGL applications. So maybe you will need to do a scaling in your screen, or maybe you're resizing the size of the window, and that's for I mean, that's why you need to kind of like adapt or have a fixed resolution. So the orientation, currently ARDK only supports the portrait mode, doesn't support landscape, and if you try to rotate, maybe they will not behave the same. So for the sake of this developments with Lightship ER, we will set it on portrait. There is this thing that says it requires full screen, not requires full screen. Some applications, not mobile, on desktop, once you launch the application, it will automatically place the game and open up the whole game, kind of like in maximize your screen. And sometimes you want that behavior. Sometimes you don't want that behavior because you want to have previously a configuration screen. This is mostly for desktop. Status bar. The status bar is basically when you are in an application, the status bar is the time, the signal, and the battery status you have on your application. You have the chance to choose if you want that status bar to be hidden or to be shown during the application. So by default in here, it's hidden. I always leave it as hidden because I don't need to know about my time. And honestly, the UI changes a little bit because you cannot place things kind of like on the port. The status bar it's kind of like visible, right? You have two types of different style bars. You have the light and the default. Default goes to, for example, your phone has dark mode, or you have Lightship in your phone, in light mode in your phone, right? And what this means is that the phone or the application will use the preferred UI color for whatever you have configured. If you have dark mode, it will make the interface kind of like darkish. But if it's not by default, it will be kind of like a white background in the status bar on here. Okay, so these have to do with shaders. I don't touch this ever. These are kind of like to have more control when you're rendering games or phones that you need special capabilities. Show loading indicator. You can add those retro vintage things that spin before the application is loading, but there are like different ways to achieve this by code, like this. But to be honest, it's not something you need. So next step, we have the splash screen. I mentioned we had the image, right, of the icon. Usually you have also the logo of the application without background, and you can set it on here. Sorry, you need to add on here one logo. Perfect. And what this does is that allows you to kind of like see how it will be open your application. So when you start your application, what you have basically is the chance to have a splash screen. This splash screen means that before everything, if you're using a free developer account of Unity, you will see always first the Unity logo. And if you pay like $50, 50 USD, then you can remove the Unity logo and have only your logo on here. Let me see if I can show you. You have this way, right? Sorry. And on this screen, you can have kind of like a customization part of who you want the splash screen to happen. So I have the first thing is I want the background of this to render as it is a dark environment, a dark background over a light image. Let's see, white background, like light background, dark logo, or vice versa. I usually leave it like this. And on here, you can set the background color. So I will set it as black, but maybe you need to be purple, for example, because your logo have that. And this is the place where you will customize it. I will leave it as black. And you have different types of splashing. You have all sequential, that means it will first pop up the Unity logo, then the other logo. First Unity logo, then your logo. You can set up how much time you want this to wait. I don't know. I usually leave Unity 2 and mine I would like 3. Just 5 seconds. Preview it. My company logo. And it's also like zooming in, and then I'm inside application. If you pay, you will not, I mean, you will be able to remove Unity logo. Blur background image. So basically, whenever the application is doing a splash screen, it's kind of like doing a zoom in or some sort of, but also at the same time, if you click on here, it will blur the background. And you can also have a custom image as a background. For example, I want, I don't know, stars, right? To be the background of this. So I will need to come here and set up the background, and that will help me integrate better the splash screen. So let me see, what is this? Okay, because I choose iOS, I have kind of like new options on here. Honestly, I have never seen them and I don't touch it. These are like new. Probably you should leave them as it is. But I know, for example, that when here is referring to custom storyboard, is referring to iOS, a way to create applications. You can create them either via scripts or via storyboards. And storyboards is kind of like an easy way to drag and drop components like search bar, buttons, image, right? And probably this is referring to that way of presenting the application. This is probably to have more control over the app. But yeah, any questions so far? If not, okay, cool. We're almost ready to finish covering the build settings. This is the fundamental part you should know from top to bottom, because when you're in a hurry or you're dealing with a client, you want to know exactly what you're touching and not find out a situation where, oops, I don't know what it touched and I don't know how to reverse it, right? So this is good because you will have hopefully a knowledge of what to do exactly in this window. Thank you very much for the feedback, everyone. So on debugging, this one was kind of like to connect the profiler, as I mentioned. Objective-C, this is related to iOS. I never touched this. Basically, you can leave it like it is. But important part in here definitely is this one, okay? Because I don't remember the settings, right? What I will do first, because this show me it has kind of like a weird thing. It says bundle identifier, it's invalid. So I will need to remove the space on here. And that way it's enough, it's ready, okay? But from top to bottom, before anything, I will go to lightship.dev. Lightship. I will sign into my developer account. And I will go to documentation. View documentation. On here, I will search for iOS. And under user manual RDK setup, this one, building ERDK apps for iOS. I will share the link on here. So we are on the same page. And on here, basically the same things as I mentioned, iOS, but these are actually the settings we need. Multi-threaded rendering. Sorry if I don't say that correctly. We will search for it on here. We have another option. We can come in here and just search multi, and it highlights this. So it's enabled, right? Camera usage. Basically, whenever you're trying to use a capability, a sensor, something from the phone in iOS or Android, you need to request permission from user before accessing the sensor data to see if the user actually agrees to give you access. In this case, in iOS, all you need to do is put a description on here, and this will put this description on a pop-up once you open the application, right? So I will say, we need access to your camera to use AR. For now, because I'm not using geolocation or anything, I can just leave this. And if I need microphone, I will just copy paste this. We need to access your microphone to use AR. But in this case, because I want to be accurate, I will say we need access to your phone to record the sound of AR. For example, you need to be very specific. Sometimes Apple might reject applications who are not clear why they want access to their camera, because privacy is a delicate subject. And as a developer, you have sometimes the power to access sensors of the device. And sometimes if you're not well intended, then you can access the camera and the phone to microphone to get data, I don't know, and use it to your intentions, and that's not good. You need to be very transparent and honest. Why are you requesting access to these sensors on the phone? So we make sure the multi-threading rendering is enabled. We set up a camera description as microphone. Location, well, in the case of we need it. I mean, it's not recorded because Holly actually went away, but if someone of you can record it, that will be a great. I cannot record it because I don't have too much space in my computer. So yeah, unfortunately, this is like only one lifetime experience, and this will not repeat it like anywhere else, because everyone does 1 hour, get to hear, learn this, see you all. And I want this to be here like tonight. I want you to have the tools to create any type of AR or applications. Yeah. Okay, so then good. If it's recording, that's perfect. Yeah. Perfect. Okay, so camera, microphone, location, we don't need it right now. You're welcome. So kind of like the last part is targeting your developer, basically your phone operating system level. I mean, on Android, you'll have kind of like Android 13. On iOS, you have, I don't know, we are right now about to hit version 16, but this means target minimum iOS version. So what this means is that your phone needs to be updated to that version of software, otherwise it will not run. So you want this to leave it maybe as it is, because you want as many users to run your application. Otherwise they will have kind of like a sign that will say your phone is not compatible with this application, and that's not what we want. So by default it's in 11, and that's it. We need to, once we basically set up this, we can close. I will in a second come here and check one of this one, each toggle box of this one, but for this tutorial I will close the screen. I will, on here on the sample scene that I had loaded a template, I will save it. Okay, and I will go to File, Build Settings. I open the scenes. I mean, if it is not open or you have nothing, whenever you have a Unity a scene open, you can click Add Open Scenes, and that creates to the directory of scenes the scenes you have open, right? And once we're here, because I told you guys we were going to use development build and teach you how to connect the profiler and testing applications, I will enable development build. It will take a little bit longer, but it's worth it. So once we are in development build, I will auto connect profiler and deprofile and support. Scripting debugging is more like if you want to code something and debug it in real time. That's, I think, the thing you need. Script only build, I don't honestly know, but usually I don't touch it because it's not for testing or debugging or development. It's more like to have more control. So as I mentioned, we're going to use Xcode, and in Xcode we have kind of like two ways of installing an application on our phone. We can say Xcode, we're going to release this application, or we will debug this application. So when you are developing, I will suggest you to choose debug, right? And once we are there, we're going to hit build, okay? And remember, I see something about having a workspace environment. So under here, I will create a new folder and I will call this iOS build altogether. And I will go to choose. And on here, if we don't have any problem, any error, hopefully we should not find any error. Basically, what will happen is that we will have a folder dedicated for all our builds. But I don't want to open the project right away once I open it. I want to show you what I do to short the development time. And there's like something really key you need to do. Instead of rebuilding the whole project, you can just add the information you need. So let's just give this 1 minute or less. So far, so good. Does anyone have a question? If so, you can leave it on the chat. There we are. Sure.
Okay. No, I thought it's gonna take longer to load. No problem. Keep going. Keep going.
Okay. Cool. Okay. So let's say I want to create a new screen, new scene, right? I went to File, New Scene. No iOS module loaded. Do you wait? Someone asked something on the questions. So let's just double check. When you come to build settings, are you being able to select the iOS or Android part?
Oh, it's I installed it and it's listed as installed. When it, like click on it, in the build settings window, it says install with Unity Hub, no iOS module installed. Okay. So I click on that and it says that it's installed. Oh, but so I was wondering if I have to like
restart.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
Yeah, restart.
Awesome, thanks.
You're welcome. I will try to make some time so you are on the same page. And hopefully there's no problem. So what I was going to say is that some long time ago, I discovered, like in the hard way in a hackathon, that every time I compile the application, I recompile everything, scripts and many things that I don't need to recompile. And whenever I do changes in the project, in this case, I was going to create a new a scene, right? I don't know, like this one that has the camera and everything. I will press Command S to save it, and I will say it, I don't know, like game, okay? I have my application, my scene name game. I will just add it. This a few things you should consider. Because the files change it and I just want to add the change I did, I will do this. I will hit again build, but instead, I will choose, I will go to choose. And he will probably tell me, hey, there is already a program here. Do you want to replace it or do you want to append information? Okay, now for some weird stuff, he just started to build. But let's wait for a second and let's check why he didn't show me that. But basically what I do is that, let's suppose I'm working 1 month, 2 months into the same project, right? And for each build, you take up kind of like 1 gigabytes of a space of your computer, of files you're never going to use. And if you do many iterations, sometimes I do 50 iterations, 100 iterations, then you are taking a lot of space of your computer. And basically on my computer, what says on Mac is kind of like all this is full, and it's actually not full. It's full of data system, and that data system is actually developer projects that contains the Unity stuff. So that's why it's important to click append. Give me 1 second, because maybe the changes were not too substantial. I don't know, I will add this to here. Maybe a scene is not that big stuff. I will mention. So here, correct. Save it. I will lay it like this. Okay. Build. iOS build. Yeah. 1 second. List. I will double check the screen folder. There's nothing on here. And I see 3 errors on here. So let me click cancel and check what happened. Location services class is used, but location uses description is empty. So seems to be either perfect fire. So on the documentation clearly says add location description. But since I was not using it, I didn't add it. But to solve this issue, I mean, Unity is preventing me to commit an error and having me to go to Google and search what's the error. He's already telling me you need to add the location description. So I will just add something like this. When access to your location to use. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. And I will hit again build and the folder I mentioned. Maybe it compiled that fast because it failed in the middle of the process. Okay. I mean, can the person, I mean, you guys on here tell me if you are developing for Windows or for iOS? That will help me trying to understand how is the process. Mac, we have 2 persons using Mac, iOS. Okay, so basically install it on here. As I mentioned, cool. We are kind of like all Team Mac, but there's no problem if we are Windows team. Basically, as I mentioned, we have the errors and the warnings and a log on here. This is the log. Build completed successfully. Cool. Woo! All Mac friends, yes. Okay, so nothing to worry about. I will just click hit clear. No errors. We're good to go. But as I was mentioning, let's for example put it do this. I want just to invert the order of this. If I had, I mean, if you usually make it as any other developer, you will just build again, choose, and you should replace. But if you hit append, as I mentioned, you only add the changes you did on here, and development build will take less time. That's the append, right? And the good part is for example, I didn't do it. For example, I have on here the location of the project, but once you finish the building, you need to open Xcode. So I hope you all Mac user have Xcode. Okay. If not, start downloading it. But what I was going to say is that because you hit append, you don't need to close Xcode, then reopen Xcode, load the whole thing. It already has the changes. So what you can do is that you hit append, and as soon as appended the changes, you can hit on your Xcode build, and it builds right away without having to sign in everything, the application to your phone. So I don't know, in 2 minutes, maximum 3 minutes, you have your application in your phone right away. Right, so we have the changes. We will go ahead to the Unity project.xcode project. Sorry. We double click, and this will open us Xcode. It's opening somewhere there. Okay. Xcode at first, and for me still, feels a little bit overwhelming. Too much information, many screen that many icons that expand views and have more complex stuff, and I feel I never managed to kind of like understand the whole process. But I don't need to understand the whole thing if I want to debug the application, install the applications as well as you do. You don't need to know everything. You just need to know what to touch. Yes. Okay, so on here, this right more kind of like the right icon, it's basically all the, I don't know, like when you have logs, it will show here, but it will go, instead of showing everything, it will show you what you need to touch. So on here, on the folders, you need to go to Unity project, right? And on here, you can see this tab, you will find your application with your icon and the tests and framework. And what you need to do, cool. What you need to do is go to sign in and capabilities. Okay. And if you have never kind of like signing into here, you need to go to Xcode file, Xcode preferences. And on here, you click the plus button, and you can add, I mean, the preferred account you will add, it's the Apple ID. You can use your own Apple ID that you use for your phone, right? There's no problem at all. You can click on here. You will need to provide the password. This will connect to your phone. You need to pass the two-factor authentication, right? Process. But once you add your account and you are good to go, your account should show up here. Take in consideration that for free developer accounts, you have a maximum capacity of applications you can build for your phone. Before over your phone, before adding more apps, you will need to delete a few ones. So yeah, so on here, as I mentioned, on Xcode preferences, you need to add your developer account. Once you are on here, you can close. And you need to, as I mentioned, click the folders, click on the project. And inside here, you have general. That, as I was mentioning, you have the name of the application on here. This will be the name of the application. This can be whatever, it can be like this. But the bundle identifier, this bundle identifier should match your Unity player settings. The .com, Diego Guerra, in this case, then the developer name, that the name of the application. That's on here, right? On here, we have kind of like things help us filter the application. I always leave this kind of like as it is. The other thing you actually need to do is that before compiling an application, you need to sign that application. And what sign means is that for each application your computer has, it has a sign of a developer. It is alright to use Windows and Mac. I use Windows for work, and it has his good parts and his bad parts. But okay, so once you're on here, you click automatically sign in. You click enable automatic, and on here you need to put basically the developer account you have assigned. I will use this one, and this one will try to register to your developer account the name com.developer account.name of the application. And this will give you some sort of ID of the application, right? That if I try to take this same ID to our application to by other developer account, you will not be able. For example, I will try to do the same, and it should not be allow me to add the same bundle identifier to another developer account, since once I manage the signing and set up this, it kind of like registered the I don't know, kind of like the signing or the bundle identifier to my developer account. Yeah, it would be nice to have translation. I would love this to be in Spanish or in other languages. So to wrap it up and finish this part, you need to repeat the same process on here. Automatically sign in, enable automatically, team, choose your developer team. Same on here. Perfect. Now, to compile our application, we see on here on top, we have any iOS device. I mean, it shows this image, this message, because we don't have an iOS or iPad OS device. So we need to connect your phone or device, unlock it. And once it's on here, you will see that you can select it, or it will automatically be selected, right? And once we are on here, we can easily click this icon in here, and he will start compiling the application to install it over your phone. 1 second. Okay. It says installing. Okay, I need to unlock the phone, otherwise it will tell me like I will show you. Unable to install Super RDK. Please delete app sign in with your free account. This is because I have too many applications on my phone, so we'll need to go here and develop a few of my applications. At least with one, it's enough. Okay, we will click OK, and I will try to install it because it's already compiled. It says build. You need to have the phone kind of like this, right? In some point it says like running, right? Then it should, it is opening the application. If you take off the cable, it will open up faster. As you see, the first thing it asks me as soon as I open the application is the permissions, the privacy permissions. The first one is the localization, the location. So click OK. Then request for internet, and here we are. Access to the camera, and here we are. This is the ERDK. Let me see if I can, sorry, I will move the environment you will see another part of this. But on here, I will try to, I don't know if I can, okay, it's in there. You know, it's working, right? So that's how you basically, in a nutshell, compile your first application for iOS, right? Probably a week, sometimes lasts the application. You can always recompile it and add it as many times as you want. It costs $100. This is the cost of 1 year subscription to become an Apple developer. I mean, to upgrade to be an Apple developer account. And it's worth it because you also have the ability to add push notifications, and push notifications are the way through social media and pretty much any application connects from inside the application to outside world with the user, because the only way you can figure out someone is talking to you inside an application and you need to go to reply is by having the possibility to send a push notification right when the person sends you a message. And with the paid version of the Apple developer account, you can have enabled the notifications. And in your application, you can buy either a plugin or programming from scratch that every time someone writes you a message or something like that, you have a notification. The notification have a number, how many notifications you have, and also the sound of you have a notification. And you can then do more complex stuff, like from inside the application, you can display information outside the application through the notification, like one person added you as a friend or so. But yeah, I mean, it's worth it to have a developer account at Apple. The only bad part that you should be aware of is that if you pay a developer account at Apple, then you don't pay back. Then, for example, you have, I don't know, like 100 applications you can have over your phone, sign it, right? If you go back to your normal account and you have all those applications sign it, I mean, registered to your account as the bundle identifier we registered, then it will say like you cannot add more accounts to your developer account because you are free and you need to pay to take off that restriction. It's tricky. It's kind of like a bad experience, but make sure to pay and maintain your subscription of the Apple developer account. Otherwise, you will face kind of like problems from sales. Yeah, I mean, they get 30% of revenues if you share anything inside the app stores, but there's always ways to help manage, I mean, help the user go to a website, manage all the payment on there, and go back to your application and use, I don't know, redeem a code, and that will do the whole thing. And you will not be I mean, Apple will not take money off your application. Yep. Thank Debugging for being here, and everyone. I really appreciate your time on here. I will try to, like, from now on, trying to wrap it up and show how is the Android part, and share kind of like the tools I use to prototype without having to do all this, right?
Okay, so I mean, I'm so sorry, I'm leaving in the middle because I need to sleep right now. It's very late. So Antigo, and thank you so much for this, lots of useful tips and everything, and see you all tomorrow. Bye.
See you all tomorrow. Bye, Debugging. Thank you very much for being here.